Please note, for maximum picture quality, it may be necessary to adjust the tracking control on your VCR.
Okay, welcome to Adjust Your Tracking. It's a podcast where we're clearing out our movie backlogs by going year by year, decade by decade, for a century of cinema. From 1920, which is an arbitrary date, until 2020, which is now. Which we've already said is going to be the end of cinema. So it's good. And Ollie's giving me that look, like I'm being annoying. I'm Liam.
And I'm Ollie.
Hey. And we're back
How you doing?
again.
You right?
Yeah, I'm really good actually. I'm looking forward to this actually.
Yeah, me too. I've got a bit of the quarantine blues, so I need a bit of a pick me up. So hopefully we can get a David Mamet pick me up. I don't know what that would be.
I don't think I want to know what that is actually. Judging David Mamet a little bit. What was that song that's called something blues? Lightsaber cocksucking blues. Is that what it was called?
Blues. Oh, by McCluskey.
McCluskey, yeah. Whatever happened to McCluskey?
Yeah.
Did we see them live?
Yeah, we saw them at Reading, and I was completely stoned, and I don't remember much of it, to be honest. I think I was holding your hand because we we took a nice hit on a bong, and I pulled away, and you were just dragging me around the Reading field. We went to see Electric Six.
Yeah, that was the one.
Then we went to see McCluskey, and then I kind of sobered up when we were watching Blink-182.
Blink-182, that was who I was trying to remember, yeah. Yeah, that was a good day. That was a good day at Reading.
It was. So I've been watching movies. What did I watch? I watched Little Shop of Horrors last night.
Oh, awesome.
That film is fantastic. And have you ever seen the director's cut of
that? Is that the one with the ending where it goes into like a kind of King Kong or Godzilla ending?
Yeah, it's a kaiju one. I mean, I didn't watch that one because Caroline, my wife, wanted to watch. She wanted to watch. She wanted to watch the one she remembered as a kid. So we just watched the normal version. But yeah, the what?
I made a joke.
The 50s. I've never seen that. I should watch that one, just to kind of. Is it 50s or 60s?
I think it's 50s, but
is it? I know it's one of Jack Nicholson's early.
I think it's his
early
first,
films, and it was shot like in 2 days.
Isn't it a Roger Corman film?
Yeah, it is. But
okay.
The animatronics on that planet are incredible, and the songs are brilliant, and I just love everything about that musical. I think it's fantastic.
I don't know all the songs off the top of my head. Only a couple of the songs I think I can remember really. Frank
Oz shot it so well.
It's from
so good.
1960.
Ouch.
Right.
But yeah, I should probably watch that one just to get a bit of a frame of reference to see how different it is to the...
Put it on the list.
Yeah,
we could do it for 1960.
And we could then talk about the other one as like a little side piece.
As a side piece, yeah. Which I know a lot better. Feed me, Seymour.
What else did I watch? I watched the new Netflix film. It's a Spanish film called The Platform.
Okay. I have not heard of that.
So the premise of that is it's kind of I wouldn't say it's like a Saw kind of film, but it's a one location film. It's about 90 minutes long. And it's set in this almost like prison kind of environment that's got like 300 levels. And there's 2 people on each level. And there's like a hole in the middle of it that this kind of levitating block goes through it. And on it is like a banquet of food. So on the top level, the banquet of food is like incredibly impressive, but the further down it goes, there's less and less food for people to eat.
Okay.
So obviously it's kind of an allegory for kind of... Yes.
Yes. We all live in a society.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I liked it up until a point. I wouldn't say I disliked it, but it kind of outstayed its welcome a little bit. I think that the overall premise is quite strong, but it's one of those ones that kind of gets a bit tiresome, maybe. But it's worth a watch, definitely. And then the third film I watched was Midsummer.
Oh, I love
Midsommar.
Midsommar.
Midsummer or Midsommar?
Midsommar.
But I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, me too. Florence.
I mean,
Florence Pugh last year just had such a good year, and I think she was amazing.
Was she in?
Film. Little Women.
Was she in that Fighting with My Family as well?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she played Paige.
But yeah, I watched the director's cut, which I didn't realise, and it was like 3 hours long. And
from what I understand, it's just extending scenes, really.
there's a few little subplots in it. Like there's one, I don't know if this is in the theatrical, but there's a bit where they're kind of by the water at night, and this young child is going to like give himself to the goddess, and they're going to drown it.
Okay.
But really, all it is, it's kind of like it's like a play. Really, they're not really going to kill the children, but the idea behind it is they're setting these children up to know that one day they will have to do.
Yeah, get them used to the kind of cultish stuff and things.
Yeah.
I really liked that film a lot. I've shown it to a number of people actually. Like demanded they watch it because I saw it at the cinema and it just kind of blew me away a little bit. How like
the way he does horror is like anti-horror. I don't know. It's because it's not jump scares. It's not. It's just all about mood and tone and setting. It's
mood,
just
tone, setting, kind of threat, dread, like that kind of stuff. That's stuff that I look for in a horror film a lot. And I think,
and most of it's in the daytime.
Yeah, exactly. And like the horrific
sunlight.
looks of it, like flowers and stuff.
Yeah,
which is just as you say, antithetical, but it really works. Like really works. I thought it was kind of terrifying, really.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's definitely probably one of my favourite horror films now of all time. I think.
Who's the actor's name's gone out of my head, but the guy who's in that and he's in The Good Place.
Jack Rayner. No.
The
Good Place.
Have you not watched The Good Place?
No, the Jack Rayner who was her boyfriend. He was in one of my favourite films of was it 2016 called Sing Street? I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, I'd never watched Sing Street. You've told me to watch that a lot, actually.
It's very charming.
Yeah. Is it? It's not about the Beatles, is it, or something, or?
No, it's nothing about the Beatles. It's about a young boy in the 80s who kind of he meets this. He goes to like an all boys school and he meets this girl, and to impress her, he says, "I'm in a band. Will you be in one of my videos?" And then so he cobbles a band together out of like the new friends he makes at his school, and they actually turn out to be quite good.
Okay.
And they kind of each of their songs kind of mimics like a different band that they're kind of getting into, so either The Cure or Duran Duran and stuff like that. And his brother, Jack Rayner, plays his older brother who kind of mentors him through all this music and stuff like that. But there's other stuff going on in the film, and it's fantastic.
It sounds good. I definitely.
I forced it on Caroline, and she was a bit, which kind of broke my heart a little bit.
That's the worst thing when you kind of go out there and try and show in a film and they just don't really give a shit about it and it just doesn't land for them. I feel like
you're looking at them, you're like kind of going, "Oh, are they feeling the feelings I'm feeling?" And you can tell they're not. And you're like,
if it's something like psychic as well, that connection it's the same as going to the cinema. If I'm sitting next to someone who's not as into it as I am, I can feel it, and it kind of ruins the experience for me a little bit. So
did I ruin Star Wars for you?
No, because who got into Star Wars? Oh, the guy next to me was vaping. He got into Star Wars. The guy at the beginning of the film started vaping. Fucking asshole.
He was adding Atmos. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, like a 4K. He was shaking the chair as well. The guy I'm thinking of is William Jackson Harper.
Okay, and who was that then?
He's the guy who's he's doing his he's the reason for going there. He's the guy who's doing the his thesis on the place.
The one who breaks into the yellow church kind of area.
Book. Yeah. He's my pick to play Mr. Fantastic if they did a Fantastic Four film.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'd be
an interesting pick.
I think it'd be fantastic too.
I just thought he'd be a bit young, but I don't know.
I don't know. He's like 40, dude.
You see, the way I pitched him ahead, they're all like in their mid-20s. If they're doing their
he looks young
thesis or whatever.
Yeah, he looks young. But fuck, I'll be probably writing my thesis at 40. So
true. So, have you been watching or doing anything?
I watched Sonic the Hedgehog, which I want to talk to you about. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, you mentioned this earlier today, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it. We'll talk about it next week.
So I need you to see it to talk about it. It's no point me telling you about it without you seeing it.
Okay. All right, I'll watch it.
Needless to say, I think it was made by someone who had no idea what they were making.
Isn't that the case with most video game movies, though?
No, I don't know. Detective Pikachu, that was people who loved the source material.
You've seen the Mario Brothers movie.
That's a long time ago.
That film's insane.
Well, Sonic's now the highest grossing video game film ever.
Even more than Prince of Persia.
Even more than Prince of Persia.
Do you know what I found? I found a little fun factoid about Super Mario Brothers movie. You know the jump boots they have?
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously in Mario he jumps on things, so they have jump boots in
Jumpman.
the film. Yeah. I think that's what he was called, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was, yeah. In Donkey Kong, was it? He was called Jumpman. This isn't a video game podcast. I don't know.
in Face Off, you know, there's like a magnetized prison.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So the boots that are magnetized boots, they're the jump boots from.
They just found the Mario boots and just used them as the prop.
Well, yeah, because they're probably just in a prop store and like, have those, have these.
What are these futuristic tech? Or was John Woo a huge fan of Mario? That's probably what it was.
But I think there's something to do with. I think in the Golden Child, the knife that's in the Golden Child is also knife.
No, it's in Shadow, isn't it?
The Shadow, the knife that kind of talks or moves or does something.
It is in the Shadow, starring Mr. Alec Baldwin. Yeah, today we're up to 1992, and we're looking at Glengarry Glen Ross.
Let me have your attention for a moment. Put that coffee down. Let's talk about something important. Because we're adding a little something to this month's sales contest. As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired.
Before we get into the film, though, what do you think about film in 1992?
1992. So what was in that year? I mean, for me, it was all about Batman Returns as a kid.
Absolutely.
As a 7-year-old or whatever.
Do you think we saw Batman Returns in 92?
I did. I remember being picked up outside of our school, White House Common, by our family friend Krishna, who used to work with my dad, and he took me to the cinema to go and watch it.
I remember Krishna.
And he bought me the comic book adaptation, which I still have.
I don't think I saw it at the cinema.
And then we got out of the cinema, and he was like, "Well, that was a bit messed up, wasn't it?"
And you were just like, "Yeah, Christopher Walken."
Yeah, I mean, I loved it as a kid. It's a very strange film.
It's brilliant.
What about you? What sticks out to you from 1992?
Do you want the answer that makes me sound really good, or my honest answer?
Both.
Encino Man.
Was that 92?
Yes.
To UK audiences, though, that's California Man.
Yeah. But Encino Man. I'm a purist. So I call it Encino Man.
Is that your real pick?
Yeah. I love Encino Man. I love it. I think it's hilarious. The cast is brilliant. I love Brendan Fraser. I love Sean Astin. Pauly Shore, you might be able to take or leave him, but I loved him in Encino Man.
It sounded like you said Portly Shore, like
Portly
he's put on some weight.
Even though I'd never seen his character. I know he was doing that as a stand-up character for years before Encino Man.
So the character of Stoney is not like written for the film like that then?
No, they just literally, it was people seeing him doing his stand-up and decided they need to put that in a film because it's so captivating. Really, because he's the son of the famous people who ran the comedy club in LA, isn't it?
And what's your like fake real pick?
My real bit is Unforgiven. It's I think that's my favourite from that year. Really.
What movie? Isn't that based on a?
It's based on a book, yeah.
Well, I thought it was based like on a samurai film. I thought it was kind of.
Oh really? I always thought it was based on a book.
It could be. Let's have a little fact check.
Let's have a little fact check. Is that me doing the fact check or you doing the fact check? It looks like you're doing it.
So it'll be about 2 hours before I get the answer.
We're gonna look up Unforgiven first. I should be waiting.
Directed by Clint Eastwood, written by David Webb Peoples. Can't see anything about a book. I always thought it was based like loosely, like how they say Star Wars is based on like Hidden Fortress and stuff like that. I always thought it was kind of like.
But I think it's fascinating to me how that film was 1992, which was so long ago. Like,
ignore me. It was remade in 2013 in Japan.
Okay, that's the connection
with Ken Watanabe
and
Lee Sang-il,
wonderful actor.
Yeah.
who we all obviously know from Detective Pikachu that we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
But I just find it fascinating because Clint Eastwood did that film in 1992, and it's a proper film about kind of one last go, redemption, the whole of a career. Like he's talking about himself in that film as much as he's telling the story of this cowboy. And since then, he's now, I don't know, 130 and still making films. He's still, that wasn't the end of his career in the slightest. It was almost the start of a new career for him.
Oh yeah, I'd say also, Unforgiven for me was like the last good Gene Hackman performance until probably like Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh God, maybe. I know he won the Oscar for Unforgiven, didn't he? But
yeah, because I know he did a few, like, wasn't he in like Outbreak and stuff, or was that? No, he wasn't in that. What was he in? That was Dustin Hoffman.
He was in Enemy of the State. I always think of Enemy of the State with him and Will Smith.
I was watching a thing with Alec Baldwin today, and he was kind of talking about how for years, like, Gene Hackman inherited. He started doing this. The way he did his performance was that he'd laugh before he'd say a line. So any line he said would start off with like this like end of a laugh, and it took someone like Wes Anderson to stop him doing that, to get him out of doing that horrible kind of
That's amazing.
weird tick. But then I think it turned out that was one of his last films, wasn't it? Or was it like Welcome to Mooseport?
Welcome to Mooseport was his official one. It was so shit that it made Gene Hackman retire. However, do you know what his last credit is on IMDb? Even though,
please tell me. Hang on, I'm gonna guess. Is it? Ah, shit. What's the name of that show? The one where the guy eats stuff.
Yeah, Drivers, Dining and Dives. Yeah, with Guy Fieri.
Is it that one?
It is with Guy Fieri, and Guy Fieri's interviewing him, and it's not clear on video if Guy Fieri really knows who it is. He just thinks it's this old boy who comes in for his breakfast.
Guy Fieri looks like he's every single member of Smash Mouth combined together to form one entity, don't you think?
Someone said to me the other day that Chino Marino looks like he was bitten by a radioactive Guy Fieri.
Hey, careful now. Watch what you say about Chino Marino. I will turn this into the Deftones podcast if you're not careful.
Around the Fur with Ollie J.
Oh, we've got to be a better name than that for a podcast.
Oh, I don't
the White
know.
Podcast. No, that sounds
the
bad.
White Podcast.
No, let's not go. I didn't think that one through.
See? And you've poo-pooed mine. Broken Ollie.
All right, okay. So even around the podcast, that doesn't sound very good either.
No, I don't know. We have to have the podcast to replacing a word.
Because that's how it works. What other films came out? Reservoir Dogs was a big one. Like, that was quite an influential movie.
We're talking because we're British people. You might have noticed. I'm saying this to Ollie for some reason. But Reservoir Dogs was successful because of England.
Was it?
That's that famous story about it, that it didn't really do anything in America. For some reason, it built up a massive head of steam in England, and it really started getting like the word of mouth out there and stuff. And then that kind of fed back into America, and then fed back into like festivals and stuff like that. And that really built his head of steam. And without that, I don't think it would have been a successful film.
Do you think it could have been like the violence and the excessive swearing that kind of was a bit off-putting in America? Because apparently if we want to segue into this is apparently one of the reasons why this flopped so hard.
Oh, really?
So yeah, Glengarry, I can't pronounce it properly.
It's horrible, isn't it? I kept calling it Glengarry Glen Ross.
No wonder why it flopped. Glengarry Glen Ross. So it was made for a budget of like 12.5 million, and apparently no film company would bankroll it.
Right.
But the producers promised Mamet $1 million for the option and to write it, and then they got the rest of the money from TV and cable channels.
Okay.
And then obviously got someone else to distribute it, but it only made 10 million at the box office, so bit of a loss there.
I noticed how it didn't make any money internationally, so I'm not even sure it opened internationally, which is very weird.
But man, what a fucking cast!
I know. They must have all taken pay cuts.
Oh, they did. Apparently, Al Pacino normally got like 7 million at that time for a role, and he got like 1 for this, I think.
Oh, poor man. I don't know what he would have
I know,
done.
poor Pacino.
He's great in this, in a way that I don't think Al Pacino's always great. You know, like, he won the Oscar this year for Scent of a Woman, and Scent of a Woman is that kind of atypical, like, parody of an Al Pacino performance.
Is that the one where he's the blind guy?
Yeah, the blind gen.
And Chris O'Donnell's like
Yeah.
guy and give him round. Yeah.
And it's just that yelling, that kind of Pacino just da rah wah da, like, and this is not that at all. Like,
he does say, the way he says "fuck you" is amazing in this, because he uses his whole mouth. The way his mouth opens and he licks his mouth, and, "fuck you." It's brilliant.
is he the main character in this?
I don't really think there is, really. There's like 6 main characters, or 5, 6.
I was thinking because he got nominated for Best Supporting for this, so he got
Yeah.
But Jack.
No, I
Lemmon,
thought Jack Lemmon didn't he win it?
No, Jack Lemmon didn't get nominated for anything.
Did he not?
Jack Lemmon's really good in this. Like, legitimately, I thought he was the best thing about the film.
Well, I've never seen Jack Lemmon act like this before.
No,
Like,
no, me neither.
seeing Jack Lemmon swear is kind of like
Yeah,
seeing Terry Wogan swear or something.
yeah,
You know,
totally.
like, kind of.
man, Jack Lemmon to me is just the odd couple. Some like it hot, and fucking grumpier old men, and grumpy old men, and grumpy and grumpier. We should do them. We should do them as a double bill. Those films were massive. Why did those films exist?
As soon as he says cocksucker, I was like, fucking hell. Like, hearing Jack Lemmon say cocksucker was, I don't know. What did you think of the movie? What did you enjoy the film?
I didn't like it that much, if I'm honest.
You didn't?
No.
I think I appreciate it more than I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked watching these guys acting. You know, I enjoyed watching them act, but the film itself, it's a bit. I don't know if I can get really into it maybe a bit deep, but it's kind of like I feel this culture is what a lot of our society from here onwards think is right, and I think a lot of that kind of bullshit about how important sales is and money and like money is all about sex and power and fuck you, fuck him, fuck them, like and abuse and stuff like that. I was watching this film thinking I don't like any of them. I think they're all assholes. I don't think they've got a good point about anything. And it was kind of, even Jack Lemmon, who you kind of you feel sorry for him because he's not having a good time. Even he comes across
he's
as
still a prick.
dick. Yeah, as soon as he thinks he's got a slight win, he comes across as an absolute prick.
Well, he comes across as a bit bipolar, so one minute he's nice, then the next minute he just fucking turns on you a dime.
He uses that niceness, yeah.
But that niceness is fake, though.
Yeah.
The way it comes across. I mean, because so obviously they're all salesmen. And what is it like? They're selling shitty real estate, aren't they? Basically,
they're selling Glengarry Heights or something, and Glen Ross, I don't know, Meadows or something. Like, I don't know what it was.
Exactly.
Like. Which it took me ages to realise that's where the name came from, if I'm honest.
Alec Baldwin's character, who was written for specifically for the film, he comes in to kind of motivate them almost.
Yeah, I think so. I'm guessing that getting the idea the office isn't doing very well.
But in my research today, so I found out that the reason why Mamet wrote him into the film was because, let me look at my notes. Where is it? So. This is what Mamet said, because these men aren't criminals, but they needed like an ex machina to turn them into these criminals. Because what they do is wrong, isn't it, really? Because they're almost like, they're fraudsters, aren't they, really?
But they are fraudsters, yeah. I mean, they are criminals. I disagree with Mamet. I think they are criminals at the start of it.
You know, he won the Pulitzer Prize for the play, didn't he?
Yeah, 1984, was it, or 88 or something?
Baldwin was like questioning, why do you need to rewrite the film that got a Pulitzer Prize? And he just said, well, because it was a flaw in the script. I needed the Deus Ex Machina to kind of spearhead them into why they're all kind of like fighting against each other.
I would say it sounds silly.
Not fighting against each other, but
well, they are competing, aren't they? Suddenly they're all kind of hungry sharks in the water.
Yeah, because it makes it a competitions.
Yeah.
Well, because only 2 of them can survive, really.
Yeah. Yeah, first place, second place, and third place is fired.
Yeah, the one who gets the Cadillac, the one who gets the knives, and the
Yeah.
other 2 are going to get fired.
Yeah.
I did like that line, though, coffee's for closers.
This is the thing about this fucking play. It was like finally watching something that people have referenced for 30 fucking years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And like, always be closing, ABC, always be closing. I've heard always be like jokes forever and not knowing what it's from originally. And coffee is for closers, I've heard continuously. And my little fact that you might not know, Jack Lemmon's character is the inspiration for Gil Gunderson in The Simpsons. Do you know the salesman Gil Gunderson in The Simpsons? He's the Downey's luck salesman. He's always like, "Old Gil's got to get this sale in," and that's entirely Jack Lemmon's performance in this, which I didn't even realise before. Like they basically just took that character and put him in Simpsons.
The acronym stuff really annoyed me because it reminded me of when I used to work in, the video game shop, and we had one, and it was called Smile, and it was for stage, meet, invite, link, and end.
What?
And it was just all about... So stage is like...
I remember that on the wall.
So yeah, stage was the shop floor
Okay.
where the customer is. Meet is you go... They say they're looking at the Xbox. You have to go meet them. Invite, you bring them into the sale. You're selling. And then the link is the upsell. So, this game will go well with it. This controller will go nicely to have 2 players. And then end is the end. And I hated all that. You got people in there, though, who really got into the selling aspect of it. I didn't give a shit. But it's like a game to them, and it's like a game to these guys. And like you'd have people who we'd work with who, like how one person prefers Sony, one person prefers Nintendo. If someone's looking at a PlayStation, they'd be like, "Oh, come over here and have a look at the Xbox. It's much better." And then they'd come back to the counter. They'd be so happy that they've converted someone from buying a PlayStation to buying it. I'm like, you're a dickhead.
Yeah, this is like... I didn't hate the film. I just didn't. I don't like this culture, and it was this. And for me, the same way that kind of, Wall Street almost invented modern bankers, because the way that they portrayed bankers in Wall Street almost was art imitating life. It was life imitating art. Because the year before Wall Street was fucking trading places, and the way bankers are portrayed in that is so different to the way that we think of bankers now, when they're all like suited people sitting around in massive wooden buildings and walls and stuff. And I've wondered if this film kind of did something for salesmen or salesmen's culture in the same way that Wall Street did for banking culture. And I did look up, and people do use this film in salesman cultures to kind of show to you what's good sales tactics, how to be a hungry salesman, how to be that person and stuff.
Well, yeah, because if you look at Jack Lemmon, he's not a very good salesman. The best salesman is Al Pacino, because he's not. If you watch his opening one, he's not selling the property first.
No, he's
selling himself.
Yeah.
He's like befriending him, and he's kind of drawing him in.
And he's basically telling Jonathan Pryce that you can be me if only you kind of
you
followed
don't buy into. It's like you don't buy into things; you buy into people. You get people's. I don't know what am I trying to say.
Confidence. They're tricksters.
Yeah.
That's what they are, yeah. And
he'd like at the end, he almost gets Jonathan Pryce's back at the end.
I was going to say, the scene that him and Jack Lemmon do at the end was one of my favourite little bits of it, when they're playing the con against Jack Lemmon, and he's pretending to be a MasterCard exec, I think it was.
Something like American Express.
American Express, yeah, and they're playing it off, and I love con men movies. So that stuff, that was really working for me at that point, because you're watching the con and watching the kind of game they were playing to get it through. We talked about David Mamet. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about David Mamet, really, because even though this was directed by Dave Foley's a bit of just a workman-like director, and I didn't see much.
James Foley, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's James Foley. Did I say? I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, he did some of the 50 Shades movies, didn't he?
Exactly. He did the 50 Shades films when basically they fired the director who wanted to do something interesting with them and brought him on to kind of just film the script, like just get it done, kind of thing. And I feel like maybe I don't know what he contributed to this outside of the Mamet of it all, really. And if you don't,
do you know who the original director was going to be?
No, actually.
It was going to be Irving Kershner, who did Empire Strikes Back and that.
probably would have worked, actually. Well, this did work. It's a weird film. I can't say it didn't work. I think it's exactly what it needs to be. I think there's always a problem in adapting kind of theatre into cinema. They're very different, even though they're both just acting. They're really different mediums, and I think it's hard to adapt a theatre play straight off into a film. I don't think it's always successful, and I think this suffers a little bit from it, a little bit from that kind of problem. But I did enjoy watching it. I just had trouble really loving it, I think. And I think there's certain people this film speaks to in a different way that it's ever going to speak to me. It's never going to be that film for me, I think.
It took me a while to get into it because for the first hour you're trying to get into the rhythms, the way people speak and their cadence and stuff like that, and it's off. It's a little bit off because it's an idealized way of speaking. It's almost like a bit like the way Tarantino. Maybe Tarantino was quite influenced by this.
I was going to say David Mamet. He's a huge writer. He's won everything you ever need to win in writing. He's Jewish American, which I only say because he writes a lot about Jewish history and heritage and stuff like that as well. He's massive. It's hard to name a bigger kind of American writer, but he's so big that he has a phrase attached to him called Mamet Speak, and it's about the way he writes dialogue. And I'll go through it. It has 4 kind of qualities to it, which when he started writing dialogue, they were really unique to writing. One of them is it's fast. Characters speak in really fast succession. They cut each other off. They don't wait for you to finish. They cut off sentences and they repeat stuff constantly.
Well, they do that a lot with Ed Harris's character and Alan Arkin's character, where it's like better, and it's that kind of like rhythm.
Absolutely.
Of the way
they go, an idea? Yes. We're not just talking about it. Are we talking about it? Yes. Are we speaking about what?
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff. It's loaded with jargon as well. So if he's writing about salesmen, or if he's writing about cops, or if he's writing about lawyers, he fills it with the jargon they would use as the profession, which sounds obvious, but most of the time you're writing, you're worried about the audience watching it who don't know this world. So often you might try to drop jargon because it might be alienating for an audience that don't understand it. But David Mamet really leads into it. If he's writing about a cop, he's using cop speak, and you just get on board. You'll find your place with it. He really focuses on semantics. So the characters are really obsessed with the exact manipulation of language itself and exactly what you're saying right now. You see it a lot between Al Pacino and Jonathan Pryce at the end of this film, when they're repeating the same stuff over and over again, but they're meaning different stuff when they say it. And it's always vulgar as well. It's always full of he writes tough men speaking tough talk, and it's full of swearing.
Well, it's a very masculine film, isn't it?
Yeah, even when it starts off with that kind of 90s jazz, I was like, well, this is a film telling me it's got men in it doing men things though.
Well, the flipping title credit sequence annoyed me. It was so long. It's like, come on, speed it up.
But so Mamet is an influence for Quentin Tarantino. We would know Mamet Speak more now as Quentin Tarantino stuff, but Quentin Tarantino absolutely took what David Mamet does and did it himself as well.
It sounds like though that Tarantino does more of the pop culture version of it, maybe.
Yeah, but it's vulgar, it's fast, it's about semantics of that pop culture. It's that kind of stuff with it. And
he doesn't do the kind of the rhythmical kind of thing that he does, I don't think, as much. Do you know what I mean? The way that kind of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not quite as snappy and quite kind of like that way. But I think a good example of it as well, if people haven't watched this, The Thick of It, that you might know, Armani.
Yeah, the TV show. Yeah.
He does similar Mamet Speak in the way that he writes Profession. So when he's doing politics and stuff, it's that hard, quick, jargon.
That's a good point. I've never thought about that.
And
interesting.
Same again. One other example is Brian Michael Bendis, the comic book writer. He, to a point, people used to call him the Mamet of comics, or call his dialogue Bendis Speak, because he writes Mamet Speak but in comics. So it was his comics were really known for having boxes that were full of speech dialogue, full of text. Which were kind of characters intercutting with each other as well, cutting each other off and stuff. And it had this similar.
Did Miller do stuff like that though? And though, didn't they? Weren't they quite?
Yeah, but Miller was more like soliloquies really. It was long text where Brian Michael Bendis is really these kind of cutting like little 2 words and stuff like that, like jabby little like.
Yeah, dialogues. I know what you mean, like boxes that just kind of.
Yeah. That kind of.
I'm showing Liam in my hands, but it's not. Really,
we're both doing this waving hands thing to point out comic books. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I appreciate writing. I that was one of the reasons I was interested in watching this, because David Mamet is a legend really in kind of theatre and writing and stuff. And if other films he might have done, I don't really know if I've ever watched any of his directed films, but he wrote on The Untouchables in the 80s as well.
See, it's been a while since I've watched Untouchables. I don't remember it being as like.
It's not as Mammoty as this play.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I watched it after I watched this. I watched it to kind of see really.
Especially, Sean Connery as the Scottish Irishman.
It's so funny. I never really realised before that Sean Connery is actually trying to do an Irish accent in it. It's not. He's definitely not just doing Sean Connery. He's definitely trying to sound Irish, and it's like so funny because it doesn't work.
But I still remember liking him in it, though.
Oh, he's brilliant in it. He is. He absolutely makes
still
the
good
film.
in it.
Yeah. And what was the other one? Wag the Dog as well. Wag the Dog is that one when they put a fake war on. I think I prefer Wag the Dog to this. I think it's a bit funnier, and I think it's just a bit more. It's more of a film where this really is. This really is a kind of theatre adaptation, and it's probably better on the theatre as well, frankly. But
well, apparently it's actually based on Greek tragedy, isn't it?
Okay.
All the characters are destined to fail at the end, so it doesn't matter who they are; they're all gonna falter.
Makes sense.
By the end of it. Have you seen the posters for this? It makes it look way more intense than it actually is. It looks like a thriller, like a murderous thriller film. You're like, no, it's not really that.
Yeah, I had no idea what this was. Not until watching it, but it was one of those films when people would bring it up, kind of like in like Memento. It's like, oh, you got to watch Glengarry Glen Ross. It's brilliant. Same way as people are obsessed with showing you Memento back when we were at university and stuff, and a bit before that.
Well, I was watching clips on YouTube earlier today of like a performance, and it had is it John C. McGinley, the guy from Scrubs?
Oh yeah.
And he's playing the Ed Harris character, and the audience are like wetting themselves at it as if it's a comedy. And for me, I don't know if it came across as a comedy.
A little bit. It's humorous dialogue. There was a bit. I think there was Jack Lemmon at one point goes, "Oh yeah, I was eating a crumb cake," and that really made me laugh because it's that kind of obsession with detail about what he was doing.
Oh, like picking at the vodka glass with the little design on it and stuff. Yeah. Kind of.
It's funny, I guess.
I wonder if some of these things they say are lies though to each other, because liars always indulge in the detail.
Well, that's the thing. When Jack Lemmon comes back on, I was just like, he's fucked this up, but I don't know how he has. Like, is he lying about this? Is it a complete fabrication? Is it like, did he actually not make this money at all? That's what I was thinking was going on. But it ended up being that he, 1, did the robbery, and 2, spoilers, I guess, and 2, he sold it to mentally ill people who can't sign a check. So he all fucked it all up completely.
That was harsh of Kevin Spacey's character, because he just flat out just didn't like him. Just gave him the shit lead.
That line is really good when he's like, "Because I don't like you." Like he said that so cuttingly. Like, I think you'd be tempted to write that line more verbose. Like the way he says it, you could be tempted to really pack it full with something, but just say, "I don't like you." The way he delivered it and said it was really cutting. Speaking, we kind of should talk about the Kevin Spacey of it all, because it's a problem with 90s films that he's in these fucking films.
And he's good in them. Yeah. And did you notice how he started off? Like, he's almost like his characters in a way that in a lot of the early 90s films, he's in them, not a lot, but very understated, but very good. Like, a lot of his characters end up being quite understated, and they don't realise how the turn that he makes.
They don't realise how manipulating he is, basically. Yeah, I totally. There's a fucking film, the Clint Eastwood film, called, it's based on a book, but it's based on an autobiography. I don't know, it's based on something. It's called The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And in it, Kevin Spacey is playing a character who was sleeping with underage boys or something, or underage rent boys or something. And I was watching this film only about 2 weeks ago, just thinking, what the fuck? Like, this Kevin Spacey's playing himself? Like, why would you ever take that role? It was
How
like
old was this film?
I don't know, 1998, 8, something like that. It's weird, man. It's weird. And
it's like maybe one of those things that he was thinking, the closer I am to it, the less people think I am part of. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it did feel like hiding in plain sight.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
I did write down, is this a good film that you can still watch with Kevin Spacey in it? Because he kind of does get shit upon a lot during it. But in the end, he then kind of wins. So I'm still not sure.
But I think he takes that on purpose. These guys, they can't turn on each other. They have to kind of have that person they hate.
To have the boss they hate, yeah.
And he kind of, I think he understands that's the role I've got to play in this. Do you know what I mean? I've got to be that person. But I tell you what I found quite interesting. I don't know if you thought about this, but so actors and salesmen have a lot in common anyway, because the salesmen have got to put on an act to sell the product or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then actors have to sell the performance. So it's quite very similar. So I can imagine for an actor, this is like a massive, apparently a lot of actors really wanted these parts.
Right, I can imagine.
In these films, it was a kind of a very sought after film. Apparently, Al Pacino was in and out quite a lot, and then they offered the part to Alec Baldwin to play that part, and he accepted it. Okay. But then somehow Al Pacino
came back in again.
Came back in.
You talked about Alec Baldwin. I would say that David Mamet is absolutely correct. This film definitely needs that part. I can't.
Oh yeah.
I can't even imagine it without that part of it.
Well, you need the instigating.
Yeah, unless Kevin Spacey instigates something, I just can't understand it having no instigation into it.
But I like the fact it's a character that you never see again. He comes into it like a force of nature, and then just fucks off.
And that's the fame. That's the out of everything in this film, that's the famous dialogue. That's got all the catchphrases everyone always repeats. That I bet they play that scene constantly at Salesmen.
I wonder if they incorporate that into the theatre version.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't. But maybe they just want to be, pure and just do the original stage show. Because it won a Pulitzer without that scene in it. Pulitzer.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, but I know that the play version of Grease and the film version of Grease are very different. But if you go and watch Grease at the theatre, it's still the original version. They haven't updated it or changed it to be more like the cinema version, so they probably haven't updated the...
When I went to go see Grease, it was the screen version. It wasn't.
Was it? Because I know that Grease Lightning is sung by... It's not sung by Danny in the play version. It's sung by his best friend in it.
Oh, is it? God.
Yeah, and there's some other minor stuff in it, but anyway, we're not talking about Grease.
I was thinking about, when I was watching this, I was thinking about theatre. I like the theatre a lot. I try to go as much as I can. I don't live in London, so it's a little bit difficult. But I did have tickets to go see David Mamet's newest play. It was playing last year in London with what's his face? John Malkovich in the lead.
Okay.
But I ended up having to give tickets away, and it's off now because it was only a limited.
He hasn't done much recently, has he?
Who, Mr. Malkovich?
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Malkovich.
I'm sure he's doing something. I don't know. Malkovich. It was called Bitter Wheat, by the way. That's what I was going to say. But I can't remember why I had to give tickets away. I had to go. I had something coming up.
What did you think of the actual, the cinematography and all that of it? What did you think of it?
It's difficult to shoot what is practically 4 rooms. Really?
Yeah, so you've got the restaurant or bar or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Chinese restaurant, isn't it?
You've kind of got the in-between bit, which is the road, the sidewalk kind of
road
area.
And a couple of cars.
Yeah, and then you've got obviously the building, and then there's someone's house, their living room.
Oh yeah, when I was going to call him
Jack
Bill then from Simpsons. When Jack Lemmon goes in to try and hard sell him in his house, and the guy's just like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Go away! Why are you sitting down? Why are you talking like this?"
And then and just inside people's cars, and that's it, really.
Yeah.
And I was listening to some other people talking about it, and they said, "Oh, it doesn't feel claustrophobic at all." But I actually felt quite claustrophobic watching this film.
It did. I think it maintained a kind of theatre kind of blocking. like
Yeah.
each scene taking place, and you can imagine the scene transitions, and you can imagine the kind of movement of it.
But the performances are big.
Yeah.
So, like, even though everything else is minimalistic, the performances are big, aren't they? Like, you know, the big rambunctious... I can't pronounce that word. Like, big speeches and big...
You say rambunctious, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Rambunctious.
Is that a correct
Yeah,
term?
I guess. Yeah, sure. Sure, we can use it.
But I actually thought it looked quite nice. The use of natural lighting in that I thought was pretty nice. And,
It helps in a...
I like how the first act is all at night. So then the colours you get, like, you get a lot of reds, like bright reds, like almost like insipid kind of greens and like blues. And then
you get kind
the
of reds
second
from all the like the neon lights from the Chinese and stuff, don't you?
Yeah. But even like the settee in the house in the is quite red and stuff like that, and from the lights of cars and stuff like that. And then the second act, when it's in the daytime, it's all quite monochromatic.
No, it's true. And I did like how it's a second act when, as you say, they it's all that one room. It's all that kind of in day. It feels more claustrophobic because you've got that closing in of the cops on the plot that's going on. They're all very pressured because even though Alan Arkin didn't take place in the robbery, he feels like he's going to be implemented. Yeah,
because Ed Harris just goes, "You are implicated because you listened, or
because
you were in the car with me."
Yeah, because you listened to me, which is bullshit.
But like the one thing I liked about this, they're all using their sales skills on each other throughout the whole film. So like you've got Jack Lemmon doing it to Kevin Spacey in the car, where he's trying to bribe him to get the Glengarry the new leads. Yeah. Ed Harris is doing it.
Let me have the leads. Let me know. Come on, 20%, $50.
I mean, Ed Harris is doing it to Alan Arkin. I think the one who probably comes off as the cleanest, maybe, to at least to his fellow workers, is Al Pacino, even though he's fully playing Jonathan Pryce like to a T.
Yeah.
Don't you think Jonathan Pryce looked like he was like an aging rock star from like a prog rock band or something, with his skullet and his like awkward tie? And
I love how they're all wearing braces.
Yeah.
I did write here that 90s suits look really comfortable. It's like
the ties go down the waist, the belt is almost like midway up your waist, and the tie goes really far down.
There's so much room in those pants though, like they're just all swishing around, and nice big blazer. I was like, oh, yeah, I could get a 90s suit and lounge around. Sell some. It
reminded me when we went to our friend Edge's wedding, and I had like one of those suits on before like I started to get a fitted suit that actually makes you look somewhat decent. And everyone just called me fucking Swiss Tony the whole day.
From the Fast Show.
Yeah.
It's funny actually that how like Swiss Tony is that same kind of sleazy salesperson, but these are the same people, but they look more glamorous than that. Like they're the exact same kind of makeup. They're wearing the same baggy suits. They're the same shitty office where like they stole the phones. Why did they steal the phones?
That is an interesting thing. Why did they steal the phone? To make it look just more like a robbery as opposed to just a straight up.
Just taking the
So it wasn't just a targeted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Robbery.
They didn't even have computers as well on their desks, which was really funny.
I know they did. They're just a phone.
And Jack Lemmon keeps on saying to his customers that I'll just feed you back into the computer and it'll tell me like what we can offer you and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, you ain't got a fucking computer. And I like that he's using that as a kind of, if I just say computer at people and they'll think, oh, we're really fancy, and they'll kind of follow on from us in that way, because he thinks it's really fancy because he's an old school guy who probably never really used a computer.
Like, I know it's not a modern film now, you know, because it's nearly 30 years old, but it's nice to see Jack Lemmon in a film that feels a bit more contemporary and a bit more like I don't know what the word is, a bit more edgy, for the lack of a better word.
Sure. Well, as I say, it's not Grumpier Old Men or whatever the fuck it was called.
Exactly.
But I think,
do you think it would have benefited if Walter Matthau was in it?
Yes, always. And Burgess Meredith.
Yes.
You know when they filmed Grumpy Old Men, Burgess Meredith had Alzheimer's and he died like
Did he?
a year later
Oh,
or
man.
something like that. Like that. Just think, why? Just leave him alone. You don't have to do this fucking film. Just like
You know who wrote or directed those films? It's the guy who did the Daredevil film with Ben Affleck.
No way, really?
I think so. Let me just have a look.
I don't believe you. I don't know why I'm obsessed with those films today. I just started thinking about them. I just remember they made millions. They were huge. They made like 70 million, I think.
So Mark Steven Johnson, he didn't direct the Grumpy Old Men's, but he wrote them.
Okay.
Oh, and he also wrote Big Bully with
with Rick Morales.
with Rick Moranis.
Did we bring that up in the first?
We did. He also wrote Jack Frost, that weird film with Michael Keaton.
Starring Henry Rollins.
Yeah, he's got a new film coming out, or it's already out, called Finding Steve McQueen.
Is that a documentary?
No, it's an actual film.
Okay.
Came out last year. Travis Fimmel. I don't know. Anyway.
What was I saying about Jack Lemmon? Yeah. Sometimes these classic movie stars, I think we'll find this when we start exploring kind of older movies, but I think it's hard to sometimes imagine them holding their own against modern movie stars, like modern actors, because obviously the art of acting's changed. The way to do stuff has moved on, and maybe for better or worse, you know. And I think it's really nice seeing someone like Jack Lemmon, who I kind of consider a classic actor, coming into.
No, I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing.
And he's holding his own in it. He's actually, I think, the most engaging part of it, and probably I would say he's the lead of it as well. So
he's my favourite character in it, just because he seems the most layered in terms of.
Yeah, well, he's actually got an arc. No one else has got an arc.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Kevin Spacey's character kind of does, but really, that's not really an arc. That's just.
But at least you know more about the Jack Lemmon character. You know he's got a daughter who's sick and stuff. like that.
Yeah.
Or is he lying about that? Who knows?
Who knows? But what was good is when it came to the reveal that Jack Lemmon did the robbery, they didn't show you any of those scenes of him agreeing to it. You didn't need them. You knew what Ed Harris was like selling it, and you know that Jack Lemmon would absolutely fall for it because we've met him enough. We didn't need.
Well,
any
I mean,
of that
he's
connected
already
dots.
been begging Kevin Spacey for them, and and if you watch it, Ed Harris's character comes in. He's the first one to be interviewed, so he's the first person that can leave.
Yeah.
So if you watch him, in the interview, and they find out that he didn't cash the check, he kind of does a little smile to himself, a little laugh, Ed Harris, and then when he leaves after he's had that argument with Al Pacino, you see Jack Lemmon shitting himself because he knows that Ed Harris is going to go off to. Where's he going to? Not Phoenix. He says, I'm going off somewhere. Pittsburgh or somewhere. He says, I'm going off somewhere. Sure. Wisconsin? Can't remember. I think it's Wisconsin. And you just see the look on Jack Lemmon's face as if to say, like, oh, it's all going to. If it comes out, I'm going to take the full brunt of this anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. At what point do they not think that
it's
they
the
would have
worst
got caught?
robbery in the world.
It is.
Like, no one else would rob the leads.
Yeah.
Like, they're pointless to anyone unless you're a salesman, and no one would know to. It's so stupid. Like,
it is. It is dumb. I mean, if they introduce the other, because I think Ed Harris is selling them off to another real estate
Yeah,
company.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he is.
If they'd introduced them and made it as if they knew there were these, then they could have at least played on that a bit more. But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't need it because you have all that connecting tissue there, and it is nice that it's not bigger. It's only 100 minutes long, which is it absolutely just rushes past. It's really easy to watch. I would, in saying that, I'd recommend people check it out if they've not seen it, because you get to see these people act, and it is really easy to watch it. But
that's the best thing about it. It's a masterclass from like 5 great actors. Is it 5, 6 great actors? Do you know what I mean? It's
7 actors, really. Isn't it?
I don't think I'd watch it again, but
I wouldn't know.
I'm glad I watched it, and I appreciate it more than I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm glad I've ticked it off one of those boxes that I've never got around to watching this before, and I'm kind of did, really. I think I was going to say this earlier, but for years I thought this was like a mafia film or a gang film for some reason.
Well, like I said, if you look at the poster, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
it looks like the cover for Sleepers or whatever it is,
or LA Confidential or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And it's not. It's
that
just
is a good film.
These men in a room getting sweaty. I think you said this last week. No women in it. I think them.
Yeah, there are no women. I
think
you hear them on the phone.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if there was women at the restaurant. Maybe
I think there might have been a woman at a Chinese restaurant. I think.
Yeah,
but that kind of bothered me a little bit as well. This is the kind of, can you like a film that's full of bad people? Like, can you enjoy a film full of bad people? And it's a really misogynist film. Like, anytime they talk about women, they're so disparaging to Jonathan Pryce, who's like, no, my wife's told me we're not doing this, and they're like, "Well, you want to listen to her," kind of thing. And
yeah.
And
then Jack Lemmon at the end goes, "But my daughter, she's ill," and he's like, I don't think he says I don't care, but he says something to that effect.
And it's the same even at the beginning when Jack Lemmon's character is selling to that guy who doesn't want him in the house, and he's like, "What, you're going to tell your wife what to do?" And you're going to like let a woman tell you what to do and stuff like that. It's full of that shit. And I understand they're just writing the characters that existed then, but it doesn't make it enjoyable to watch now. Do you have to like the character to enjoy a film? Like,
enjoy something, yeah.
Like Wolf of Wall Street is not about good people, but I didn't really like that film, but people really enjoyed that film, and it's that kind of it's that kind of thing. And I think maybe it's personal, obviously, but I think personally, I kind of do have to like the character or have someone to latch onto to enjoy a film. I think I do require.
I think with films like Wolf of Wall Street, though, is you see who the person was before they kind of get a bit corrupted by all this greed. So at least you can kind of sympathise with their downfall.
There's a bit of a save the cat moment.
Yeah. Whereas in this, they're fully formed from the beginning, so you don't really see who they were before, or to kind of. I mean, you don't really know much about any of them, to be honest, other than their personality traits.
No, and as you say, anything they tell you could be a lie.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you do know that Jack Lemmon's obviously got some ailment because he's he's trying to get in contact with his doctor about something, or is that to do with his daughter who's ill?
It could be to do with his daughter, couldn't it? The only thing you really get is Jack Lemmon's been in a slump, but you don't really know how long the slump's been for. And Al Pacino is on is the best. That's basically all you really know going into it.
And obviously, like, Ed Harris was envious of him.
Yes, yeah.
Because of it.
Alec Baldwin drops like an F-bomb right at the beginning of the film as well, and it was that kind of like, oh yeah, I have to listen to kind of that be in films kind of stuff. So this is a famous F-bomb in like Bill and Ted, which you just kind of wish, even though it was funny at the time, you just like.
Bill and Ted's an odd one, why it's got it. But I'm sure later on in the film, Jack Lemmon says it, or a version of it. Or he may have said fairy or something like that.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah. I think he calls him a cocksucker as well. Which
probably, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that.
And you'd think, is he internally going, or like, I mean, we're thinking it now it's just, I'm glad that that's being erased from film.
Yeah, it does date films really badly. It really does.
I'm sure there's like, there's a racial slur as well when they go. Shall we go to the? I'll say that they go to the Chinese, but they use a different terminology for it. And it's do you need to have that in there? Like, does that make your film any better for having that in there, or your?
Well, I'm pretty sure when they wrote this, they were just like, "That's what people say," and we're just writing how people talk. Which I'm. And if you're thinking of your audience, then maybe your audience don't want to see in a film when that's being used. Maybe they don't need those terms to be used by the characters and know they're bad people. It's just, and that's suddenly when I was watching this film, the F-bomb drops and I think, oh fuck, do I have to now deal with that for fucking 2 hours or something, whatever it was, 100 minutes. So it
does make me sad in Bill and Ted because I do love Bill and Ted.
I love Bill and
that
Ted.
moment.
It's weird. Like,
why is that in there? It's like.
doesn't need
because
it.
there's no swearing in it or anything like that, and then all of a sudden that's.
It's almost like when they wrote
what?
it just wasn't even an offensive word. You know, like it had no like levity to it to the people making the film.
It still baffles me that the food product hasn't changed name or something. I guess it's
Oh, the meatballs.
yeah. Why are they still called?
I guess they were called that before anything else. So
I guess so, but once something's got a connotation attached to it, you think, oh, okay, maybe
I think
it's probably time to.
the village I live in, or the town, whatever, wherever I live, they're the butchers are always advertising that outside on the little boards outside, like homemade. I don't know, and I always wonder if people are doing it now because they get away with being able to say words.
Yeah. It's like quoting a film with the N word in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
say it if you quote it. It's like when I was editing the last podcast with Boys in the Hood. Obviously, they say the N word in the trailer.
Sure.
But I purposely edited it out because no one needs to hear it. Really, I mean, you can say it. They can say it in that film because
They have the right.
that's part of their vernacular. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I definitely don't have the right.
it's like Shaun of the Dead. They say it in Shaun of the Dead, and it's like,
Do they?
is that forgivable in that? Or yeah, like Nick Frost's character like pulls up in the car and he goes, "What's up, my?"
With a soft R, or whatever they call it, not with the hard R. Is that the term people use?
Is that what it is?
I think so. Anyway, have you got anything else to say about this film?
No. What would you give it on Letterboxd then?
I reckon I'm about a 3, maybe 3.5. 3.5 because the acting, I think.
I'm a 3. I think.
It's around there, though.
Yeah, it's mostly for acting.
Yeah. It's not a bad film.
The
though.
music didn't stand out to me. It was a bit again. It went a bit 90s TV, didn't it?
Yeah. I really hate saxophones. I hate the sound of saxophones. I'm gonna have people attacking me, you know. Like, but
This is the third film that's got these.
it's got
that kind
pink
of sound.
saxophones in it. Like, that's all the 90s was.
At least this didn't have Chris Isaacs in it though. Like that song bugs me in Wild at Heart. You know the I never wanna fall in love. That one. Just that song.
Yeah, this didn't have one needle drop, does it? At any point, there's
No, it's all inconsequential. I don't know. It's just all kind of
Well, I guess on the stage there wouldn't be any music at all. I'm guessing
probably maybe something just at the beginning, just as the curtains open or the spotlights open.
because there's no reason to have music in any of the scenes, not in the office or the restaurant. So I guess they just I don't know what the soundtrack in this, but I guess they just put some smooth jazz in it. Like
It kind of puts the film in a bit of another era, maybe as well, because it doesn't feel necessarily 1990s because it's almost got that kind of film noir kind of.
yeah, sure. I mean, it was written in the 80s though. Like
Because the first half is all at night and it's just pouring down with rain, and they've all got the big raincoats on and the big
the
hats and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I think that's how people dressed then, especially in the when it
Did
was
they?
written. Yeah,
I
think
thought
so.
they all wore stonewashed jeans and Nike trainers and.
Not if you're a salesman in office. Like,
No, everybody dressed like Marty McFly in the 90s. That's the bottom line.
do people still wear suits all the time? I guess they do. People with real jobs.
Yeah. Man, you're talking to someone who spent the last 6 weeks just wearing his lounge trousers. Like I've been wearing the same Star Wars or Ninja Turtles lounge trousers for the last God knows how many weeks.
That's Dan Harmon's term, isn't it? If you manage to spend all day in your pajamas, you're a pajampian.
Like when I put jeans on now, I feel like I'm dressed up.
I'm not joking. I've spent all day working in my lounge pants, as you put them. And when I went to record this,
They are pajamas. They are
They are
pajamas,
pajamas.
but you know.
and when I came to record this, I actually dressed up. Like I put like real trousers on.
See, I'm business at top. I'm party at the bottom.
You totally are.
They've got TIE fighters and X-wings on.
Anyway, I've got a game prepared for us.
Go on then.
Okay, so in honour of Alec Baldwin being in this film, which is our first time covering Alec Baldwin, I came up with a game called Which Baldwin Am I?
Oh no. There's so many of them.
So, I was going to write a jingle and everything, and I wish I could do an Alec Baldwin impression. It's really hard to do, but I was listening to him, and he's got no, like, kind of... I can't do impressions anyway, I don't know who I'm pretending.
He doesn't have, like, one of those...
He doesn't have one of those kind of tics.
When you hear Alec Baldwin, it's Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got, like, a kind of voice that you can impersonate, or a catchphrase that you can kind of
latch onto. But anyway, I have a number of statements about a Baldwin, and I want you to guess which Baldwin it is.
So hang on, there's Alec,
Yep.
William,
Yep.
Stephen,
Yep.
and who's the other one?
Daniel.
Just them three. Daniel? Who the fuck's Daniel?
Daniel Baldwin.
What's he been in?
Well, we'll find out. There is Adam Baldwin, but he doesn't count because he's a fake Baldwin, so he's not part of this game. So I need to
What's
point
he
that out.
been in?
He was in Firefly.
Oh, the one who wore the hat.
Yeah, the guy with the hat.
The like tea cozy thing on his head.
Yeah, he's a fake Baldwin. He's
That
a
show,
weird-
like everyone tried to get me into that show. I just
You know
don't
what?
get on with Josh Whedon.
It's fine. And
The film's alright. I like the film because you recommended
I really
the
like
film
the
to me.
film. Yeah, I do.
But the show I found a bit grating.
It's just fine. It lives where it lives, and any times people are still bringing up the fact that the Firefly might come back, it makes me yawn. Just it's fine. I enjoyed it too.
Do you know they're bringing back Red Dwarf again?
Oh, I don't give a shit about Red Dwarf. That was the.
I have started rewatching it, and the old ones are funny.
God,
Some of the concepts in it are quite good.
I tried to rewatch it at university, and it didn't hold up.
Didn't it not hold
I
up for
just
you?
got so fed of rewatching it, if I'm honest. So I start with reading a phrase. I start with an easy one.
Go on then.
In 1990, I was the first actor to portray Tom Clancy's former US Marine Jack Ryan on screen, a role that has subsequently been portrayed by Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, Chris Pine, and John Krasinski.
Is that William Baldwin?
No, it's Alec Baldwin.
Oh, it's Alec! Fuck. William's the older one, though, isn't he? Isn't he older?
I think so, yeah. I think
It's
he's the
funny that when
oldest.
you look back if you look back at young Alec Baldwin, he looks nothing like Alec Baldwin now. So if you look at Alec Baldwin in Beetlejuice?
In Beetlejuice, he's so beautiful. And in It's Complicated, he's not. That's the career growth for Alec Baldwin. In 1996, I portrayed Stubbs Johnson, a young slacker who accidentally ended up in a closed ecological system with his best friend Squirrel.
That'd be Stephen Baldwin.
Yes.
Viva Los Biostome.
I took over the role of Barney Rubble from Rick Morales in the 2000 sequel to The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas.
Stephen Baldwin.
Yes, because you know your Stevens.
I haven't seen that one. I remember I went to Universal Studios and I think they made the film there, and so all the sets and stuff were still present. Fun
Talking
fact.
of Universal Studios, my performance as firefighter Brian McCaffrey got critical praise in the Ron Howard 1991 firefighting action drama Backdraft. I did not appear alongside Ron Howard, Kurt Russell, and Scott Glenn for the Universal Studios attraction, but I did return for the sequel in 2018.
There was a sequel.
Yeah, Backdraft 2.
That's not true.
It is.
It's not. There's no Backdraft 2.
There is. You can't look it up. I've got to guess with Baldwin first.
All right, William Baldwin.
It is William Baldwin. Billy.
Yes. There's a Backdraft 2.
That
That's
is a
real.
Backraft 2. Yes, it is true.
Backraft.
Backraft. It's called The Fire Strikes Back, I think. I'm making it. In 2014, I was arrested for disorderly conduct after riding my bicycle the wrong way down a one-way street.
In what year?
2014.
I want to say... Oh, I know Stephen Baldwin's been in a lot of trouble, so I'll say Stephen Baldwin.
It was Alec.
Oh, Alec.
Oh, Alec.
That was a slap on the wrist.
I starred alongside Daryl Hannah in the 1993 remake of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Ooh. William?
Daniel.
Daniel. I didn't even know Daniel existed until a minute ago.
In 1998, I was found running naked through the halls of New York Plaza Hotel shouting, "Baldwin!" and was arrested for possession of cocaine.
Stephen Baldwin?
Daniel!
Oh! I don't think Daniel exists. I think he's like...
Okay, alongside Daniel Day-Lewis, Ralph Fiennes and Val Kilmer, I was on Joel Schumacher's shortlist to play Batman in 1995's Batman Forever.
I want to say Alec, because wasn't he up for the Batman 89 as well?
He might have been up for Batman 89, but this was Billy.
Oh,
I would eventually play Batman in 2010 in Justice League's Crisis on Two Earths, a loose adaptation of Grant Morrison's JLA Earth 2
being
story.
in a cartoon animated film does not count.
It kind of counts. If I was Billy, I'd...
That one was actually alright, that one was. It wasn't
Was
as
it?
good as the comic book, but...
If I'd read that bit out, would you have got it, you reckon?
The Batman bit.
If I'd read the second
Which-
bit out of that he did
Yeah,
play
yeah.
Batman eventually, okay. I should have read that out fully then. I shanked you.
Shanked me.
In 2016, I publicly endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Ooh. Please don't be Alec. I'm going to say Stephen.
Stephen. You're good at your Stephen.
Sounds about right. He was on Celebrity Big Brother one year, and he came off across as like quite a bit of a
dick.
Bit of a bell end.
Yeah. In 2016, I took over as a regular host for the new Match Game, which is blankety blank in the US. Season 4 of the new Match Game was shown in 2019.
Let's go Daniel, just for the fuck of it.
It's Alec.
What, really?
Yes. Alec hosts the Match Game.
Didn't he win an Oscar for The Departed?
Did he win it for Departed?
Didn't he?
He must have an Oscar. In December 2011, I was on an American Airlines flight at Los Angeles International Airport playing Words with Friends on my phone while waiting for takeoff. When instructed to put away the electronic device by the flight attendant, I reportedly became belligerent and was eventually removed from the plane.
Stephen?
Alec.
What? Alec, you're going down in my estimations. What's going on?
In the second season of the American I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, I joined the season halfway through after Heidi Pratt and her husband Spencer quit the show.
Stephen sounds like a thing Stephen Baldwin would do.
Daniel.
Oh, God.
How many more of these do you want? I've got loads.
keep them coming.
I portrayed a fictional version of myself in Judd Apatow produced 2008's Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh. Alec Baldwin.
Billy.
I don't... When was that in that film? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but I'm not going to say that. My daughter Hayley married Justin Bieber in 2018.
Oh. Daniel.
Stephen. In 2000, I starred as the Fat Controller alongside Peter Fonda and Mara Wilson in the live-action film Thomas and the Magical Railroad, although the character was renamed to Mr. Conductor.
Alec?
Yes, Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
This is, you know, the film premiered at the Odeon Leicester Square, and for the purpose of the premiere, they got a steam locomotive and painted up to look like Thomas, and it was brought to the cinema. At the same weekend, all the press didn't turn up, basically, because the same weekend, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was launched, for which at King's Cross Station they painted up a special train called the Hogwarts Express. So the entire press were there. And the second weekend of this film, it made 170k. Oof. Yeah. That wasn't a...
It's a live-action Thomas the Tank Engine film?
Yeah, it's live-action almost with, like, kind of CGI trains, or trains with CGI faces or something. Like. I have a recurring role in the 2016 reboot of MacGyver, starring Lucas Till as the eponymous lead character. The show is still on the air.
William.
Yes.
Yes.
It's our
I've never
friend Billy.
seen a single episode of MacGyver.
I didn't know it was still on. I was very impressed by it. I just know it from the guy who used to be on Stargate, whose name's got in my head. He's MacGyver.
I was looking up Stargate the other day. I didn't realise how long it ran for and how many spin-offs and movies it had.
I haven't seen them all. I've watched some of each series. Oh shit!
Because that film is better than it has any right to be. The first film.
Yeah, it totally is. I think it holds up.
Was it our friend Jamie who kept calling you David Spade after?
Yeah. I think the archaeology goes hand in hand as well.
Do you like being referred to as Spader?
Yeah, totally. I fucking love James Spader.
Mannequin era Spader.
No, I'm good with Lincoln era Spader. That's my favourite Spader.
I need to rewatch that one. So carry on. What's next? Give me another one.
In my second film, I starred alongside Scott Plank and Michael Rooker in Michael Mann's TV movie LA Takedown, which would eventually be remade by Mann as the seminal 1995 movie Heat. Kickboxer Jerry Trimble played the same name character in the remake.
Oh. William?
Daniel.
Oh. It's my goal now to meet Daniel Baldwin, get his autograph. I don't know what he looks like. Does he look like a Baldwin?
They all look like Baldwins. They all look like different versions of Baldwins.
What do you think? Like if like in Bill and Ted 2, you got Station where they all combine together to make one station.
Do you think the Baldwins are the same?
Yeah. Do you think they'll look? Who would they look more like? Can you imagine the ultimate Baldwin?
I think Alec is the ultimate Baldwin. I think Alec doesn't exist, and the other Baldwins merge to form him.
To form him the successful one.
Yeah. Shall I do one more?
Yeah, go on.
This is two Baldwins. So you've got to guess which two Baldwins this is. In 2015, myself and my brother played evil twin Sarko Sukuses in the Korean animated film Dino Time, or it was called Back to the Jurassic for American audiences. I was eventually killed by a rocket-powered skateboard.
I want to go Daniel and Stephen.
You got one of them. It was Billy and Stephen.
Ah,
You got half a point. Well, that was fun. Which Baldwin am I?
that was a good game. I enjoyed that one. I didn't do very well on it though.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got many Stephens. You're good with your Stephen Baldwin facts.
Stephen was in The Usual Suspects, wasn't he? Does that film hold up?
I don't know. Man, I'm never going to put that film on again.
It's got two big questionable people who are involved in that film.
With Singer and... Yeah, I'm never going to watch that film again. I don't know.
Is Singer's career over now? Is he done
so.
now? Yeah.
I can't believe he won a fucking Oscar after the fucking whole thing came out. I'm still mad about that.
What does he win the Oscar for?
Didn't he win a... Oh, no, well, I guess he didn't win an Oscar, but Bohemian Rhapsody got fucking every award on the planet. Didn't it?
Well, Dexter Fletcher should have got some of that.
Yeah,
because he's the one who kind of brought it all together.
Was Dexter's name on it?
No, well, as a producer. Liam almost dropped his laptop.
No, the microphone fell over. You might have to cut that out.
Nope, staying in. I'm gradually getting looser and looser with the edits to the point where we don't have to edit.
There's going to be no edits. It's going to be us talking shit.
Intro, outro, and then just unedited in the middle.
Long pauses while Ollie looks up the monkey from Friends.
You looked at the monkey from Friends.
Actually, that was me looking that up, yeah. Right! No.
Right!
Oh, I think we've gone a little fucking crazy. So, next week, it's going to be 1993. And I think we're going to look at Remains of the Day.
Is this the one where he plays the writer of Narnia, C.S. Lewis? Or is that Shadowlands? It's one of the
That's
two.
Shadowlands. This is when he's a butler.
Oh, okay.
I think that's all I know about it. The cover for Remains of the Day is one of those videotapes that I saw it everywhere as a kid. Like, it was in my parents' house, it was in the VHS shop. The VHS shop. It was in the, it was in the rental store. Like, it was posters of it everywhere. I think it got nominated for like approximately 45 Oscars, and I don't know.
Are there even 45 Oscar categories? They created one just for Reigns of the Day.
Yeah, best period drama with Emma Thompson. That's what it won that year.
That's all she does.
That's all she does.
Exclusively.
Yeah, James Ivy picture, which I don't know. I have no idea. I've no expectations. It looks very. I just know this cover with him in his butler outfit and Emma Thompson kind of staring at him, kind of like mysteriously, like, oh no.
I know my dad loves it, and the DVD box says it's like the greatest performance in all of cinematic history.
Oh my, there we go. That's a tagline. That's selling next week. It's a very. I think it's safe to say we're going very dad movie next week. This was a bit dad movie though, I guess.
I guess so. So where can people watch Remains of the Day?
You can actually rent it on Prime, and you can rent it on Apple as well. So you should be able to get it through that. It's not as hard to kind of find as some films.
Yeah, you can't pop into your local HMV at the moment. I think that's
Though this they would definitely have copies of this in HMV. They've probably got a wall of this.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of the catalogue titles they'd have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, anyway, don't forget you can contact us and add us on Twitter. We are at Adjust Your Track with a YR instead of a your. Anyway, please rate, review and subscribe. We're also on Spotify now, so you can follow us on there as well. And don't forget, if the picture's bad, always adjust your tracking.
That'll do, P.